Hello everyone and welcome to the hands-on demo on Amazon API Gateway. So in this demo, we will create a Lambda function, then we will create an API Gateway REST API. We will create a resource and method in API Gateway. We will integrate the API method with Lambda. We will deploy the API, we will test the API and we will clean up all the resources. So this is the demo overview. So I'll be testing from my browser. There will be an API gateway and there will be API REST API that will be invoking the AWS Lambda function, and that Lambda function will be responding back, and that response will be served by API to the browser that we will be able to test. So first step is to create a Lambda function. So I'll copy the Lambda function name from the demo. So I am at console home, search for Lambda, click on Lambda. So click create function, author from scratch, paste in the function name, runtime you can keep default Node.js 20x, architecture same. So keep the default setting, create a new role, advanced setting, keep defaults, click on create function. So this is the default Lambda function. So this is the code. So by default it will return a hello from Lambda. So this will be response, HTTP response with status code as 200. So no need to make any changes here. So in case you add some code, you have to deploy it. Just remember that. Next we will create a API gateway API. So I will search for API gateway. Open that in a new tab. This will be a REST API. So when you log in, you will see choose an API type. So first one will be HTTP API, but we are not creating that. So if you just scroll down, you have to select REST API, click on build, new API, give the name hello world API, and regional endpoint, API endpoint type. So I'll just choose default, which is regional. Then click on create API. So next step is to create a resource. So resource is basically what you see after the slash. So in your browser, after your, for example, slides.com slash, so this one is the first resource slash second resource. So we are creating a resource now, and this resource will be called as hello. So we are already getting an endpoint and we are adding some resource. So once you are on the default REST API page, I'll just close this. On the right side, you'll see first you have to create resource. So click this part, create resource, because there are no resources. So it's just a default domain without any web page. So same like you create first like index.html. So this will be my first resource. And make sure you enable CORS, which is cross origin resource sharing. So I'll talk about this. So we enable CORS to allow web applications hosted on different domains to securely access our API. Without CORS, web browsers block requests from a web page to our API if they have a different origins. For example, if there is any even small change like domain, protocol or port. Enabling CORS add necessary HTTP headers to our API responses, telling browsers it is safe to allow these cross-origin requests. This is crucial for building web applications that need to interact with APIs hosted on separate domains. So even if you are doing some kind of development where you have front-end server like Express.js server or something, even in that case you have to enable, because they will be on a different machine, not on the same machine. So on more than 90% of the cases, you will enable this setting. For this particular demo, for just testing via browser, it's not required, but I am just enabling it so that you don't miss this when you are working on real projects. So let it create. So next step is to create a method. So we have added one resource for same as like /index. Now inside that index, what kind of method are allowed? So you have get, put, post. So we have same like that. We are creating first method. and we will call this a get. So this is created, it is automatically highlighted the first resource. So this is highlighted, and you have to on the right side create method type. So you can see any delete, get, head, patch, post, put. So I'll just select get, and default is lambda function. And where is your lambda function? One more setting is to enable this lambda proxy integration. This will send the request to your lambda function as a structured event. And make sure you select, because I am working in, so I am in the North Virginia US East 1 region. So I select this because my lambda function is in this region. If I just click this, it will automatically let me select this, the one, there is only one now, and keep all the settings as default. So I'll just show you. So click create method. So successfully created resource slash hello. Okay, this was previous method, and successfully created the operation type also, method type also. So we have get and options. So this came because of the first option that we have selected, which is enable course. So we have seen all these settings. Now we have to just deploy the API. So so when we deploy the API, so I am at this page. So this API is still not live. We have just added one method. So at this point we can deploy the API. It means that there is something that can be served. So here we have to select a stage. So create or select a stage where your API will be deployed. You can use deployment history to revert or change the active deployment for stage. So basically this is done to, let's say you want to test your API in production, dev, integration testing, or some QA stage. You can give a name, some stage, and there will be different endpoint. So I'll just show you. So I'm calling this stage as prod, and just click deploy. So now this API is deployed. So as you can see, it is at this particular stage. So this is the way to test. So finally, if you're fine with everything, you can deploy it to like slash directly, but this is a way to test our API. So we have done this, and now I can just copy the whole API and test it. So we take the whole API and add slash hello, which is the resource that we have created. So it is at this tab. So I'll copy the URL and click and type in the resource name. So you will see that I have got a response from the API gateway, which is in turn is talking with the Lambda function. So that's all. Now I will just do the cleanup. So first step is to delete the API. So I just click on Hello World API on top and add API actions, delete API. Click on delete. Next is to delete the Lambda function. So I go to the Lambda page, and if I just scroll up, actions, delete function, and click delete. So Lambda function also got successfully deleted, and I can just delete the IAM role also. So Lambda actually created a Lambda IAM role. So if I search for IAM, and click on roles, select the Lambda function role, click delete. So role got deleted, and that's all. Thanks for watching.